Kevin, and this is the Ultimate Rifle Target Stand. It's a 1/2 inch thick AR 500 plate, and it is held on with stainless steel carriage bolts. A lot of people are going to fuss about that, but with our experience, the stainless steel carriage bolts tend to hold up better than grade 5, grade 8 carriage bolts, hex head bolts, socket head bolts, all that kind of stuff. We've tried them all. These things, believe it or not, do the best. When rounds come in, like those around here, and they hit up close to these areas, the spalling actually deflects off the carriage bolt. So it helps these things last a lot longer just because of their shape. Now, if they get hit directly, it will take a little bite out of them, but despite our best efforts, we've never had one fail with direct impacts. And because they're carriage bolts, we can get out there and replace them when need be. The nuts on the back side of them, not only are they just tightened on there as much as we could get them, they're Loctited and they're double staked, which means the nuts can't spin off. These little guys are going to be fun to get off when we need to get them off, when either they take damage or when the plate starts to bow from all of the rifle hits. Then we can actually remove these and turn the plate around, put it back on, and we're good to go. So looking at the profile, what makes this thing the ultimate rifle rest? You got to kind of take a look up under its skirt for that. So I'll spin it and give you an idea of what's going on. This is 1.5 by 3 inch bar stock, solid bar stock, and this is an offcut of it also. A little guy weighs 108 pounds. It's not easy to move around. The idea is this is going to be buried up to its neck in the backstop. So there's going to be a barrier down here below it and in front of it, and we're going to have it just low enough to where the target can swing and not impact it. So that means that since you didn't see any of this, well, looking at the front, the bullets won't either. The purpose of this arm and this chain to keep it from falling down is so when rounds impact this, it lifts the arm. So all of the force of a round smashing into that is going to be transmitted through this 9/16 bolt into this 1.5 by 3 inch bar stock, and also into this little guy, and this 9/16 bolt, and it's going to move up with a good heavy impact on it, and that helps absorb some of the momentum. And we're using the only tool you could ever truly count on, and that's gravity. There's a lot of weight in this arm. Kind of like to take out a little bit more if we do another one of these things, but for now, this does the trick. This thing works. The next item is the elephant in the room, and that's this pachyderm down here. This is just a big giant counterweight, because with this much weight behind the center line of the pivot, it brings the target back forward to where it's at a natural 22-degree angle. Without that, this plate was way back here. It wouldn't hide any of this, and it wouldn't be much fun to shoot at. So when hanging out like this, we've got some room. Now, this is also the reason we couldn't go with a smaller, more challenging plate. A guy's going to say 8-inch plate at 200 yards is a chip shot. And for most of us, it is. If you're shooting at iron sights with an older rifle or something, it can provide a little bit more of a challenge. But the 8-inch diameter gives us room. It buys us the real estate back here to hide all of this. And it also isn't heavy enough to pull itself forward, so it needs this big fatty down here to add the weight to bring it back. If we used a 10-inch plate, then we would need less counterweight because it would extend further below this pivot joint, and it would naturally rest a little bit further forward. The smaller plates would just be laying almost flat. So the nuts on the back of this little guy are also double staked and red Loctited and really stinking tight. These are really stinking tight, and they've got red Loctite on them. We built it to where it's easily serviceable. There are no welds, because we've shot at welded targets and we've broken welded targets because welds don't last forever in that kind of abusive atmosphere. With the bolts, if this actually starts hammering up this the hole in here and starts wallowing out, we can go in here and enlarge these holes, just run a drill through them and step up to a 5/8 bolt in this thing, or even a 5/8 bolt down here. And that buys even more surface area to contact, and it'll take forever to knock those things loose and to get those all wallowed out. To hold it down, to keep it from moving around. If you've ever stuck a T-post in the ground and shot at it, or shot at steel hanging off of it, you know that it's going to fall over, or it's going to get shot up and bend. If you hang a target off a trapeze or something like that, it's going to get shot up, it's going to get beat up. This is going 2.5 feet in the ground. So we had to give it a base. And the base is fairly substantial. Let's take a look. It's a bulldozer track pad. It's bolted in here. In fact, you can see some spalling that's been deflected from that from the target face in our testing. And if this stuff rusts up and seizes up, who cares? If we can't turn the bolts later, who cares? It's going to be 2.5 feet in the ground. That means it's not going to come apart on its own. That is a win. With this big, fat foot hanging out the front of it, all the way to the dirt that's piled up on top of this thing, it's going to be a massive land anchor, and this thing is not going to wiggle sideways, and it's definitely not going to be rocking front to back. So that's a tour of the ultimate rifle target stand, and I've got some video of some testing that we did at disturbingly close range with both 308 and some 12 gauge slugs, just to try to really abuse this and see how it works. I think you'll like what you're going to see. So tell us what you think, leave a comment below, and thanks for stopping by.